Everybody talks about the PCT, but hardly anyone shows you what it's actually like. The real grind, the real miles, the real moments. So I'm about to take you with me, step by step, uncut. What is up? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Russ Hepton, founder of Through Notes and Vice President of Trek for Trevor. Feel free to check the description below for a 10% discount on one of my waterproof notebooks and head over to trekfortrevor.org for hiker safety and advice. I'm going to walk you through my entire Pacific Crest Trail journey, uncut, unfiltered, and exactly as it happened. Every mile, every campsite, every moment that doesn't make it into the highlight reels. While the raw footage plays, I'm going to be here picture in picture, giving you trail tips, gear insights, telling you all the mistakes that I made, things I learned the hard way, and what you can expect if you're planning to hike the PCT yourself. Today's episode covers a 192.2 mile stretch starting at Castle Crags, mile 1501, passing Etna, Sayad Valley, and all the way to the California-Oregon border at mile 1693.2. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out my PCT documentary series, Back to the Start. It will give you a full emotional and personal context behind this journey. The links are up here and also in the description. All right, if you're excited for this new series, hit that like button, drop a comment to say that you're ready, and let's jump right in. Okay, here we are. I'm in Redding at this point. I've just flown down from Washington, where I stayed with Brad, after deciding from doing a southbound hike, I was going to do a flip-flop due to the snow. Could see the Sierra Nevada mountains there in the background, actually. And, of course, a cheeky American flag. But the weather was outstanding. And, I had to hitchhike from where I was staying in Redding up to Mount Shasta at mile 1501. And this lovely couple, Sawyer and Olivia, picked me up, and they drove me a whole hour from Redding to this point. And they were just such a lovely couple. So if they're watching, thank you guys. You were great. So, there's the I-5, and I've just hopped out of the car. And it was quite a big moment for me after everything that happened in 2020 to finally get back to the trail. And, walking up to this point after all that travel and crazy decision-making to do a flip-flop. But I was actually really glad that the start point that I had this sign with an emblem and a little sign that said PCT Canada this way, because it felt like a proper start point, because obviously I didn't have a monument and a border to start at. But, here we are. Probably like less than 10 minutes in, walking through the woods. Just so quiet and pristine.
Fucking PCT, motherfuckers! America.
I was very excited, as you can tell, to be there. There we go, Castle Crags in the background. Dusty shoes. I actually, a little bit of an insight, I hiked into the night because I didn't start till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And as it was getting dark, I got really scared of bear encounters because I'd just been dropped into a part of the world that I'd never been in. And obviously there's no bears in Mexico in 2020 when I was in Southern California in 2020. So I was pretty scared. So I was shouting, "Hey bear, yo bear," like really loud. And this group of hikers were camping and they were like, "Dude, why are you shouting?" And I was like, "Mate, I've just started and I'm really scared of bears." So I think this is the next morning. Obviously stopped filming when it got dark, but I loved the cool mornings in Northern California. The mountain dew just on the leaves and on the plants. I was just so happy to be out there, and the views were outstanding. I mean, for me, I'd only just started, so I wasn't really fully acclimated to the scenery. I was Mount Shasta. Slowly disappeared over 2 weeks. It didn't fully disappear until we got to Ashland. But I wasn't acclimated to the scenery and the landscapes yet. So all of the northbounders that started at Mexico were a bit spoiled, and I just was blown away by the scenery. Cheeky chipmunk. Funny thing about the chipmunks and the squirrels is they'd climb to the top of the pine trees and they would chop off the top pine cones because they're really sweet. And I I heard stories of hikers getting hit on the head by really big, heavy pine cones because the squirrels and chipmunks chop them off. But there we go, just plodding on through Northern California on my way north to Canada. This hiker, I wish I got more footage of him. His name was the Great Dingleberry, and he had a monster pack. And the funny thing about the Great Dingleberry is that because he had so much gear and so much food, all he had in his pack, I swear, was like Skittles and ramen. But all of us like lighter weight people would skip off into town to go and resupply, but he would stay on trail and we'd overtake him and think, oh, we'll never see him again. Then we'd get back on trail, and then 3 days later he'd be up ahead because he just hasn't stopped. So massive respect to the Great Dingleberry for just doing big 20-mile days with that massive pack and barely even stopping in towns. There we go, Mount Shasta in the background, slowly shrinking into the distance. First wild swim of the trip. Safe to say that after like 3 or 4 days, I already stank. Nice t-shirt tan going on as well. Also, I was a little bit chubs when I started. Lost a lot of weight pretty quickly. There you go, the Atom Packs Pulse 50-litre Custom, serving me well. Ultra Mont Blanc. Didn't get a single blister on the entire trail wearing those. And I also wore Injinji toe socks. Served me very well. Just beautiful. Again, yeah, the Northbounders were spoiled by the Sierra, and I was just blown away by what I was seeing. I hadn't seen mountains this large for a while. And back here in the UK, all of the wilderness areas, you don't really have wilderness areas. It's all managed. So there's sheep everywhere, and they kill off all of the tree saplings. So you don't really get wilderness areas like this with just randomly grown forests where it's untouched. It's all very barren and exposed here in the UK. So yeah, I just couldn't believe my eyes. No idea what these plants are called. I used to remember the name. Weather was outstanding. Light breeze, blistering hot, but calm, you know, whereas here it's always windy, always raining. And it made camping an absolute joy, especially like starting there. In 2020, when I started, it was so cold and windy and wet down in near the Mexican border. And to come back and be in this kind of climate where it's so calm and easy and dry, just it was like a really nice warm welcome, if you forgive the pun. I would do it all over again. Just plodding along, really, not really thinking about anything else, just enjoying every single step. Like the joy of finally being there and not really having anything kind of looming over my head like a global pandemic was just very relaxing. Yeah, that part you could see some burnt trees. And yeah, it's really cool because all of the plants, flora and fauna, are completely different in the United States to how they are here in the UK. So I just found everything interesting and just wanted to stop and look at everything. First burn area. Funny enough, I was a bit worried about drinking or filtering water from water sources that were in burn areas because I'm pretty sure that, like in Tenerife, if volcanic ash gets into the water, it can make you quite ill. So I was a bit worried about doing that, but eventually I got used to just filtering and relying on the filter, and I never got sick once. I used the soya squeeze, just the standard squeeze, and I did have to replace it once because I was worried it froze when it got colder. But yeah, it's almost like autumn leaves here, but it's just burnt trees. And you know what, the burn areas I found had their own kind of stark beauty to them. And it kind of broke up the forest a little bit, but obviously there's no shade in burn areas, and it gets really hot because of the ash is really dark, and it just radiates back up at your face. Again, just more beautiful flowers that time of year. It wasn't too late, so flowers were still in bloom. This part, I think this is just going down to... Oh, where is this going? I can't remember. It looks like it's going down to Sayad Valley, but I'm not there yet. I need to go to Etna first. Going down into Sayad Valley, it was just full of blowdowns and bushwhack. Here, if you look really closely, you can see all the moss on the trees doesn't grow until like 10 foot up the tree. And it took me a while to realize that that's how deep the snow gets. So all the moss doesn't grow. And then when you realize that, I was like, oh, flipping heck, like, can't believe the snow gets that deep here. Beautiful mountain lakes. Here we are, first hitch for a resupply down into Etna. Met a couple of hikers. And we hitched together. I think it was like a ranger that picked us up. Really nice chap. There we are. There's Courier. I can't remember the lady's name, but Courier, they were from, I think, Taiwan, and he was ultralight, and like seriously ultralight, had a 20-litre pack, and he made all of his own gear and like 8 out of hiker boxes, and he crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. But there's a John Zahorian video that's really good to watch where he goes over all of his gear, so definitely check that out. Yeah, this is Taser and I just having fun with a deer. The deer were really tame, so this is like easy pickings for hunters. They were just so tame. Look at that. Not really too phased about us being there. The deer were actually a big pest on the PCT because they're salt deprived, so they eat your trekking pole handles, but I was lucky. There you go. You can see all of the shrubbery just reclaiming after this fire has just caused all of this sunlight to peek through. There we go, me and Taser. So this is Dr. Taser from Germany. Her real name's Frieda. And she got her trail name because she's a dentist and she carried a taser.
What's your real name and where are you from?
I'm Tapatio. My real name is Laurens. And I'm from the Netherlands.
Nice. And what did you have for din-dins this evening?
Pack out sandwich, ramen, and now dessert.
Oh, M&M's.
M&M's for dessert.
Now he's French.
La vache.
So, there we have it. This is the current group. This is like the worst vlog.
Crash. He got his trail name because he was in a car crash. And Tapatio got his because he loves the hot sauce. And everyone was like, what's his trail name? People couldn't remember.
We're on the PCT. This is my first night wild camping. Not wild camping. Cowboy camping. And
I didn't really enjoy cowboy camping at that elevation because the flies and the mosquitoes were just insane. And they just kept buzzing around my face, biting me. And I had to sleep with a head net on. I was like, this is not fun. But I did cowboy camp a lot more at higher elevations.
really looking forward to the future.
And this is it.
It just makes me smile. And like in my documentary series, I didn't really feature many of the people that I met. So I thought these videos would be good to just show all of my interactions and the friends that I made. There you go, there's Taser getting some service. It's quite funny actually. Whenever there's a pocket of service, you see groups of hikers, like 5 or 6 hikers, just all like crouched over their, like leant over their phones, getting in touch with loved ones and updating their Instagrams. But I didn't even check. I actually deleted my social media completely. After 2020, I just wanted to go out there and I didn't want anyone knowing I was out there after everything that happened. So I barely checked my phone. I don't think I spoke to anyone on the phone for at least like 2 or 3 weeks. And yeah, I didn't download Instagram until I finished. I need to get better at explaining like what these mountains are called and where they are, but it's really hard to find them on the map and get their names because a lot of them don't have names. But yeah, this part here, like this was the first like really craggy, ridge-liney bit that I saw. Can't remember this guy's name, but he hiked in a kilt the whole way. No idea if he was commando underneath or not. I didn't ask. Blistering hot. NorCal for me in July was way hotter than the desert is in mid-March. The desert's freezing in mid-March. And yet, like, just the insects, the amount of insects is incredible. And just the butterflies all chilling down here in the sun, getting a drink from this little stream. I'm pretty sure I just sat there eating my lunch and watched them for half an hour. Just untouched wilderness. So untouched. And all you've got is this little foot wide trail just in front of you, kicking up dust. Here we go, going for another cheeky wild swim.
There.
Mirror shine. Honestly, like the wild swims were just such an essential part because you don't shower for days. When you're in that heat for so long, just jumping in a fresh, cold mountain lake is just an incredible feeling. And to do it every day, if you can.
My God. I mean, that shower in...
But I mean, you know, if you're going to filter water, a lot of people, they try and filter water upstream from these lakes because obviously people are going to swim in them. But in my opinion, if you're filtering it, you're filtering it. And you have no idea what's in it anyway. So off goes Dr. Taser into the distance. I think she tried to swim to the other side. And I remember there was like a giant dead tree like floating in the water that you can't see because of the reflections. I think she got right up to it and was like, whoa, nearly like crashed into a floating dead tree. No idea how deep that got.
Wow, a rough-skinned newt. Is it actually very rough?
Yeah.
Wait! There it is.
Really cool little newt there.
No, it's a newt.
There were loads of them. No idea I managed to catch the thing. Off I go into the wild. Further still. Mount Shasta. You can see it just slowly shrinking. I don't know what day this is. Probably like day 5. Day 6. I think it took me like a week to get to Sayad Valley. But yeah, in the mornings like this is definitely a morning shot. You get that beautiful alpenglow. It's dead quiet. It's like what, 5, 6 in the morning. You get these. I thought a cloud inversion was going to happen that morning, but it never accumulated enough. But you'd be walking down the trail, and all you'll hear is this really low hum of insects waking up and warming up their wings on the ground. As the sun hits the ground, they warm up, and they warm up their wings. And it's just this really low hum. I've never heard anyone mention that in any PCT video I've watched. Look at all those pink flowers. Just that whole floor was just covered in pink flowers. Sayad Valley. And yeah, like 2 weeks later, if that, I was up in the Three Sisters Wilderness in Oregon, and that was all on fire. All closed due to fires. So this is where I met Lost and Found, those two hikers. And Sayad Valley is right down in that valley there. And we just hiked up that really hot climb full of rattlesnakes. There's Korea, me and him having a little dance. Actually, this camp is an interesting one because I was like half asleep and then all of a sudden I heard this like bowling into camp, and it was Josh Perry, who I don't know if he still holds it, but he got the FKT unsupported, and he was a British guy, and he walked through our camp and had a chat, but I was so half asleep I couldn't be asked to get out just to meet him, but would have been cool. Another deer. So many deer. Here we are. This is the California-Oregon border. Anjum and Sarah, SpaceX and Lost and Found. They'd just walked all that way from Mexico, and I'd been on the trail barely a week. So they were like chuffed to be there. And I was really glad to have their company at that moment, because crossing into another state on the PCT is a rare thing. It only happens like twice. So
Finally get to another state. And
Finally.
I was glad to be able to witness this moment.
yeah, really cool.
It's like 200 miles in, whereas for them it's like 1,700. But hey, I'll get there.
There we go. And that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Do feel free to drop a comment down below if there's anything I missed. Have you hiked the PCT before? If you have any questions, I'll definitely get back to you. I'll read all of my comments. Smash that like button. It really helps the algorithm. Give it a subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.